Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Masters of Marketing. In this episode, I'm interviewing a celebrity doctor based in the States. He's been doing marketing for many, many years. He invests in SEO and paid marketing and social media and personal branding and email marketing and so much more. I'm covering so many topics with him. He agreed to be very open, very transparent, to share everything that he's done, the goods, the bads, what he's learned, what is working for him. So stay tuned and enjoy the show. Bernard, welcome to Masters of Marketing.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Absolutely. We haven't seen each other for over probably, what did you say, like 30 years? 20, like, no, over 30 years.
Yeah, 35 plus.
Wow.
We were babies. we were toddlers at the time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Good to speak to you again.
Likewise.
I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Who is Bernard Salameh and what do you do for a living?
Awesome. Well, I'm a young boy who who grew up in an amazing family, great parents. Really, it's been a joy. Great family, great friends, and who worked extremely hard. Dedicated my entire life to what I'm doing now. Really, kind of took me about 40 years to get here. But in a nutshell, I'm a father, a husband, a plastic surgeon, and I'm a giver. I just like to and love to make people happy and add value to people's life.
Awesome. So, plastic surgeon, what do you specialize in?
So I specialize in awake plastic surgery of the body. We mainly do three procedures. We do breast, tummy tuck, and liposuction, and that's all what we do.
And what is that procedure? Is that a special procedure?
Yes. So when I started, when we started the practice, is we used to do like all types of plastic surgery from facelifts, eyes, noses, breast, body, tummy tuck, liposuction, all that stuff. And what we found is when we narrow down to our niche, to what we're extremely good at, and where we can deliver the best outcome possible consistently, that's really when things kind of really started to take off significantly. And so we narrowed down from all body parts down to just the three things: the breast, the stomach, and liposuction, mainly body procedures. And then after that, we narrowed down from going under general anesthesia to awake plastic surgery. And we're one of the few pioneers worldwide where we do full awake tummy tuck, no general anesthesia, no IV sedation, awake breast augmentation, awake breast lift, awake liposuction, advanced high definition. And that's really what we're known for. If anyone in the US who wants awake plastic surgery, we're the place to go to.
Awesome. And that's the meaning of awake. Now I got it. Makes sense. Very interesting.
Yeah.
To do tummy tuck while you're awake. Wouldn't imagine that, but yeah. Now that you say it, I remember the videos that you have on Instagram. That people, the ladies, the patients are actually awake, but I didn't think about it. But now that you say it, like it's definitely unique.
Yeah, I was in a meeting last week at the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, and there's a lot of panelists, moderators, and at the end of each session, they would be talking about whether tummy tuck or depending on the session, and literally went to every single session, and I would go at the end and I'd just go up to the mic and I would be like, "What's your thoughts on awake tummy tuck?" And then most people, even for among plastic surgeons who are super smart, super educated, and it just cannot be done, or you can't do it, or you have to undermine the value that you'll be giving to the patient. And it's just like so unique that really now at this point, there's no one's doing what we're currently doing. And that really sets us apart in terms of what we're able to deliver to the patient that traditional plastic surgery was not able to deliver. So it's like a huge improvement from, in my opinion, I think that's the future of plastic surgery in the next 10 years. Because let's say patients getting breast augmentation, right? I mean, in the past, you decide on the implant size before the surgery. And then in the surgery, you do what you normally do. The patient is asleep. Nowadays, it's like getting a designer dress. You get to choose the size, you get to choose the color, you get to choose the fit. So patient is awake. So you put the sizes in, we take pictures, we show it to the patient. It's like, hey, take a look. What's your thought? He's like, oh, you know what? I want to go bigger. I want to go smaller. So now the
Wow.
patient, it's impressive. Now the patient is part of the decision making in
Nice.
how and how the implant's gonna be, what size. Hey, where do you want your nipple to be? You know, I want
Yeah.
more elevated. It's just been a game changer
Wow.
in what we're doing. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. And you've been listed in a lot of renowned publications, and you are known. You are a known public figure in the healthcare space. What do you think it takes for a doctor to get to where you are?
You know, that's a great question, but um, you know, there's different types of doctors, and I guess as a as somebody coming out of residency or in residency and trying to decide which avenue you want to take, you know, they have the academic path, they have the private practice path, and then they have the self-employed path. And really, you gotta decide kind of which path you want to be, what's your strengths and weaknesses. But let's assume someone who really wants to go down the path that I took, where you own your own business, you have your own surgery center, you go down that entrepreneurial route. And I'll give you advice if somebody is deciding down that route. Because the others, it takes a totally different personality, totally different skills, and totally different interests. So even among plastic surgery, there's like a wide variety of what can be done. You can do hand surgery, you can do insurance, you can do breast reconstruction, you can do hospital stuff, you can do emergency stuff, you can do burn. I mean, you name it. The list goes on and on. And then in cosmetic, you have the academic center, you have the hospital-based private practice, and then you have the group practice or self-employed solo practice. So it's a very wide sort of avenue that people can take. But let's say somebody is really excited into having their own practice and kind of like getting out to be able to take their own care of their own patients and have their own surgery center. First, you gotta look deep down in yourself and figure out if you have the DNA for it. Not everybody does. You gotta be able to take risk, be willing to take high risk, and be willing to fail. Because like anything in business, there's always a chance of taking that big job, and you're gonna fail. It's part of it. The key is, you know, the failure is not big enough that it breaks the entire enterprise. So if somebody is averse to failure, have aversion to failure, or aversion to taking risk or big risks, that might not be the right path for them. However, if they love taking business risks, they understand a little bit of business. They don't need much when they start off. You know, life will teach them. I think it's the reward is significant from a self-satisfaction standpoint. Growth. All of us as human beings, we want to grow, we want to improve, we want to add value, we want to give back, and that's kind of what makes us as human beings. So to get to this point, you gotta really know who you are as a person. You gotta know what you're really good at, and you want to hone in on the stuff that you're really good at. And if you can find a mentor early on, that's what's going to help you tremendously, because that's going to minimize, hopefully, the amount of potential mistakes that you can make instead of making all these decisions on your own.
Makes sense. That's a good one. Having a mentor goes a long way in any business you start, in any job you are. And you've been lucky to have a mentor.
You know, that's a great question. As I was saying that, and you're reflecting back, I don't have a dedicated mentor, which is a big drawback. And I've done tons. I've done millions and millions and millions of dollars of mistakes in my career so far. And I think that would have been not prevented, kind of lessened if I had a mentor. But that being said, I'm an avid reader. I read nonstop. I'm big on continuous education, and that's kind of how I get a lot of the knowledge that I have on the business sides of things, the marketing, sales, and plastic surgery, kind of all the stuff that we do. But I don't have a dedicated mentor that I go to on weekly or monthly basis.
Right. I remember when we were in Bruges, where we used to live together. We remember the building was 3, 4 stories high, and we were all of us, all the kids, would be playing downstairs, and you'll be walking on the balcony with the huge book, and we'd be looking up and be like, "Man, this guy."
That
What
loser.
would no, not loser, but like how dedicated he is. What were you thinking looking down on us? These losers. I'm aware you're
Not
like,
really.
no.
Not really. I actually, I enjoy. I have great memories, and I just, I loved every moment in it, and it's something. It's in me. Like I'm always pushing, going after it. Teaching myself, and it really takes a different mind to be able to pioneer the field of plastic surgery. I mean, to be able to figure out how to do a tummy tuck awake, it does take a different genetics making to be able to figure out how to really cut somebody open without general anesthesia, without IV sedation, just by numbing them up to figure out the anesthesia part. So I had to understand like how to do, and how to figure out how to numb somebody, like part of being an anesthesiologist, part being of plastic surgeon, but also part of it is understanding the business models and how things work, and what patients are looking for, the supply and demand of things. And for me, being able to understand all these together, that's what allowed me to basically pioneer that field. Because if I didn't understand supply and demand, what patients want, I wouldn't have pioneered the awake field. And the reason that pushed me this way, it's funny when you look backwards, it's very easy to connect the dots. I don't know if you've seen Steve Jobs like famous commencement speech. It's like it's very hard to connect them forward, but it's very easy to connect them backwards. So when I look backwards, I took about a year. I took about like a year off in my career in plastic surgery, and I dedicated as I was building the plastic surgery part, and I really dive deep into patients' experience, patients' outcome, what patients are looking for, where the future of plastic surgery is heading. And when I started seeing how well patients are doing after awake, and when we say awake means no general anesthesia or no IV sedation, how well they are doing after awake liposuction, it was an aha moment. I was like, if I can figure out how I can perform an awake tummy tuck and awake breast and awake body procedures, then patients are going to be happier. The risk is significantly lower because you don't have anesthesia, and we would have unlimited demand for a one supply. So understanding the business side, that the supply and demand, which is 101 of economics, understanding what patients want, having the brain to be able to figure that out, and you just put it all together and it goes viral. And that's exactly what happened. Looking back to it, back at the time, I just had no idea, how things were. Why my brain functions this way? Why am I so disciplined? And I mean, even up to this point, like I woke up this morning at 4 and I worked out and I prepared for this, and I get just like all that stuff. And you see, I was like ready 45 minutes before because I want to be punctual and on time, and I don't have to. It's just like ingrained in me since when, like you're saying, since I was 5 years old. It's just like that genetic component.
What's the best marketing channel for your clinic or your practice?
Sure. in a nutshell, if I had to choose one, it will be Instagram. That's by far has been what performed extremely well for us. Now, if you've asked me this question 5 years ago, it will be Facebook. It will be very different. When we started the practice, we went really heavy on Facebook, and we did extremely well with that. Unfortunately, the regulations changed and the algorithms changed, and Facebook we could, because our practice mainly before and after, so our old account got shut down. We were about 100,000 followers at the time on Facebook, which was like, at the time was easier to get than now. Now it's much harder. So we got shut down. We got started from scratch, but there was a shift from Facebook to Instagram. But that being said, I wouldn't say one channel. I think they all connect together. And I think if we just try to hit to one channel, yes, it would be good. But at the end of it, and I think you posted once about the importance of being omnipresent. It's like, why not being on multiple platforms, right? And I was like, that makes total sense. So like for us, we are present throughout. We are on YouTube. We have thousands of subscribers on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on Real Cells. The same SEO, PPC on Google. I mean, you name it, pretty much we're like throughout. And big part of it, and I'll tell you why, because even though patients find us on Instagram, they go to YouTube to see how the surgeries are being done. They go to YouTube to see how is the experience of the patient, what patients are saying. So the decision making, the conversion happens on YouTube, not on Instagram. But the finding happens on that. So you really need multiple channels. And then they go from YouTube to Google. And then on Google, they look at reviews, testimonials, what people are saying. They look at the office. Does it look nice, clean, this, that, who the staff are, who the people are. And then it's not like, oh, I love him on Instagram, I just want to have him do my surgery. It's never the case. Now patients are super smart, and I love that because they're educated, they know what they're looking for, and that's how they find us. I mean, they fly to us for the reason. So it's really providing value to the patient so that they make the right decision and they select a surgeon that they can match with and they get the outcome that they're looking for. We get about 200 to 400 inquiries a week. And do you know how many surgeries we do a week out of these 200 to 400?
10.
6. So we're so selective in whom we choose on as a patient. And the reason for that is we want to make sure every surgery we do, the patient is getting what they want, they're happy with the outcome, and they kind of tag along with our brand. It's very easy to get people interested in you. It's very easy. But what's hard is to get the right people interested in you. They're two different things. So out of the 400 people we attract a week, really 6 out of them we feel they are a good match. Not that the 394 are not good people. They're great people, but they're not a match to our practice. They will be a great match to a different practice, but not to our practice.
Makes sense. Love it. Makes a lot of sense. And yeah, especially for a business like yours, right? Like it's a huge decision. Like people are not going to do a laser hair removal, or they're doing Botox or fillers, right? Yeah, I mean fillers, it can go wrong as well, but what you're doing can go completely wrong. Like breast augmentation, I mean, man, like you want to get it, you want to make sure that you get it right. You want to make sure that you're choosing the right doctor, and not laser hair removal where you go to a therapist or to okay, so the second question is, influencer marketing important for clinics?
Yes, good question. And it kind of goes back to matching the lead generation and patient interest into the brand itself. And same with the influencer marketing. Let's give you an example. Let's say if you're a Chanel practice and your influencer marketing is somebody who doesn't fit that uh, population, that customer experience. Even that influencer is the best influencer in the world, but it's a different socioeconomic than the population that Chanel markets to. And kind of same in a practice, and different practice is different. So like our practice, we don't do discounts, we don't have deals here, deals there, we don't have our practice is like extremely selective. We know exactly who our target audience is, and our goal is to provide the best customer experience, the best value, and the best outcome possible, irrespective of cost. We don't deal with insurance. We don't deal of any of that. Nothing wrong with that, but you gotta know exactly who your target population is. Like in our practice, we only do 2 surgeries a day. Some people they do 12 surgeries a day, right? I mean, does it mean they are faster than us? Maybe, but it's unlikely to be 10 times or 6 times faster than us. It's like humanly impossible. But to us, it's the high quality, low quantity. Take the time, give the experience, give the outcome. Don't get the patient off the table unless they look amazingly well to our eyes and to the patient's eyes because they're awake. So the stakes are so high because the patient is awake. Take a look. It looks perfect. We're good. That takes time. Great customer experience. High volume. It devalues, and like anything, it's just kind of like it's very hard to create a plus experience when, let's say, we're doing 20 surgeries a day. It's just impossible. Things are gonna fall through the cracks. Things are gonna happen. So, but that doesn't mean every practice has to do 2 surgeries a day and get 400 leads and do 6 of them, convert 6 of them. Certain practices they have different models, other practices they have insurance model, and they have to be able to survive, they have to do high volume, otherwise they cannot pay for their staff, their doctors, their employees. Just the business model doesn't work. Same with marketing. So it really goes to what you're looking for. And now to go back to your question to the influencer, so it's the same thing. If the influencer that I collaborate with that doesn't match, their followers is not the followers that the 6 out of the 400 of our patients, it's a devalue to our brand. It actually hurts our brand, depending on the influencer that we're connecting with. Even if they have millions of followers, again, to us, to our practice, it's not a numbers game. It's not like how many, like I don't care if I have 5 million likes on a post or I have 1 like. What I do care about is the person liking that post is interested in what we're doing, and that person is high value, that they would be one of the 6. So that will have 6 likes, they would be patients of ours that would have lifelong relationship, than to have 5 million likes on that same post and 0 conversion. They're 2 different things, because our business model is not to get likes on the post, it's actually to connect with our audience.
Makes sense. So influencer marketing, you used influencers in the past, or it doesn't make
Yes.
you haven't?
Yes,
Okay.
we have used it probably a couple times, and again, and it worked. Again, definitely, like everything in life, there's pros and cons, and certain things work, and certain things they don't work. Actually, they were great people, awesome people. It really connected, but again, it goes back to, and the business has changed. Like our model has changed over the years, and everything has changed. So and the influencers themselves, they change. They can either increase in value or stay stagnant, or they can drop in value in terms of what they're doing. And same with any business. And the key, though, for the success of a partnership with any influencer is to make sure that the business status is very similar to the influencer status. And this is very important because let's say your business status is here and you go with an influencer status lower, that that population doesn't either cannot afford that business status or not interested on that, or maybe they live across the world that they cannot connect with that business. And vice versa. If you connect with an influencer, it's like, oh, they're awesome, they're the best, they have billions of followers. I just I wanna raise my status on that. And that business is giving a crappy product and customer experience, and that now they wasted all this time and money and collaborating with that, and it's not gonna work. And then they're gonna go, it's like, oh, it's not working. Well, the problem is not the influencer, it's the match. The match is so crucial.
Yes, well said. Absolutely. What about PR? Do you work with a PR agency, or you do your PR yourself, or you don't do any PR, you just get it for free?
Uh,
How do you do it? How important it is for clinics in general?
Sure. Great questions. And I feel like, these questions, I should be the one asking you these questions because you are the expert in the field and I'm just sharing my honest and humble personal experience.
The thing is, I
But
think it's great
yeah.
that you are, and that's the reason I have the podcast, right? Because before the past podcast, I was the one always telling people, do this, do that, do this. And some people will say, like, how do we know if he's right or wrong, right? And now it's firsthand. Listen, you're talking to the guy that has been doing marketing for many, many years. He's burned a lot of money. He's very successful. He's getting business from Google and from SEO, from Google Ads and from SEO and from Instagram ads and from PR and from referrals. And you're doing it very well. Like your Instagram page is like top notch. The quality that, and I asked you the other day, like, how do you get to do this quality? Like, how do you get people to get to accept you filming them while doing their surgery? So you've done a lot, and I can definitely learn from you. And I'm sure a lot of the clinics that follow the podcast and follow me and follow you, they're gonna benefit a lot. So yes, go ahead, man.
That's very smart what you're doing, and I couldn't agree more. And um, eh, being an agency, and I've worked with a lot of agencies before. You have amazing ones and you have a lot of crappy ones. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, a lot of businesses have had relationship with crappy ones, so it kind of gives it the hard, like, hey, how do I know? And my friend did this, and it's just being in your shoes is very hard. But I love what you're doing because it really works when done right.
Yes,
And, and the key to
absolutely.
find the right people to connect with, because if you have a great product and if you have a great business, it's unethical not to reach to every person in the world so that they experience your product and your customer experience. And that's the beauty of being a marketing person, a salesperson. Actually, even though it has like somehow we became in a world where, oh, if you're marketing it's a bad connotation, or if you're in sales it's actually one of the most amazing things that you can do is to be able to connect with fellow human beings, add value, improve the world, change lives, and put the most amazing things out there. Because if you don't, you're gonna go to the grave with all this with you, and you haven't impacted anybody in this world. So I couldn't agree more with what you're doing.
Good. Thank you. And I agree. And I debated that topic with Elias, my brother, you know him, for probably 4 years, man. Been thinking about podcasting for literally 4 years, probably more, but definitely not less than 4 years. And I was like, man, me podcasting, I should be the one talking, right? I should be the one on camera. I'm the expert. And then, yeah, decided at the end, and it makes so much sense, man. I'm interviewing like so many cool people. I interviewed a guy a couple of days back. The podcast is gonna go live. Um, Everybody has heard his voice in Dubai. Everybody. Like if you walk in malls, if you listen to radio, if you're on TV, if you have heard his voice, and you're gonna see the podcast going live soon. and nobody know, like people don't know him because they know his voice, right? So it's very interesting, a very interesting story. You know, self-made millionaire, became millionaire at the age of 25, bought his first Ferrari at the age of 28, his second Ferrari, has like 2, 3 Ferraris, like self-made guy, came out of nothing, man. So interesting people on the podcast, and you like a celebrity. What are you called? Like a celebrity doctor or a celebrity surgeon? What are you? No, what's it? What's it? Like, what do people call you? You're a celebrity doctor?
I mean,
It's
I
okay,
don't know.
say it. Like, what do
You
people?
know,
What's the?
the way I look at it is how to add value. It really is down to that. The moment I kind of like, the moment I felt where I really, really made it and I'm top of the world and just like opening that was actually my weakest moment in life. So it kind of humbles me. So I always try to, not try, I just always kind of go down to the basics, and I'm like, um, really figure out 100% how to add value to other people, whether my patients, whether my friends, whether my family, whether, I mean, anybody around me, how can I add value? And the moment I understood that concept, my entire life has changed. I was like, so to answer your question, I don't, people might see me this way, walking around, going to places, and that's like, oh, but I don't. I just see it as it's just like me as that 5-year-old who was, on the balcony and reading that book. It's just like, and it will always be me.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. um, yeah, but like I already got so much value from you when you tell me like, hey, I get 400 leads a week, and I accept or convert, let's say 6 of them. That is what, like 1%, 1.5%, really, right?
Yep, 1.5.
So I convert 3% as an agency, and we look at us, we look at the partners, and we be like, man, 3%. Like, how can we make it 5? Like, how can we make it 6? But you know what? The more you grow, the more picky you become. At the beginning, we used to take projects for $1,000. Now there's no way. Like, it doesn't make sense, and it's good. That only that message has so much value, because I work with a lot of clinics, and they say, "Yeah, I was just talking to a guy now, to an owner. He's a partner in a clinic, and he's like, I already got 65 leads the past couple of days, and we only booked 3 appointments out of those. So I'm gonna send him this video.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, listen to the guy, not to me anymore. Listen to the guys that have been doing it. And
Yes.
yeah, but so yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
And that, let's talk a little bit about it. And I was one of those guys who were like, oh my god, and just kind of like, I cannot believe it. We're putting all this money, we're getting 100 lead. It's costing us $200 to acquire a lead, and our conversion rate is so bad. Let's take a look at the lead process, and obviously you always want to improve the lead quality and all that stuff. But then I realized, kind of after doing it so many years, and it's it's very easy to get numbers, and it's very easy to show amazing numbers. But what's very hard is to really look at what you're getting, what you're putting in, and all the way to the end, what you're getting out of it. This is what's really hard. And that's what most people don't measure. They either measure customer acquisition cost, or lead acquisition, or they look at the conversion lead to consult, and then they look at the conversion consult to surgery and all that stuff. But what they really, really miss is, how are you getting this lead to convert to a consult, and how are you getting that consult to convert to surgery, and what's the cost of getting that lead in terms of the cost per surgery, and then kind of putting those together and dive deep into where, look at each channel. Okay, this is Facebook, this is Instagram, PPC, but kind of like that, and kind of really cost for that. But what I found is, if you become super, super micromanaging it and looking at it, the numbers don't add up, because a lot of it is in the channels kind of connect to each other. And because like if I look at like my PPC ads and stuff, like you know what, I'm not very happy with the numbers. But that would be probably the biggest mistake of me stopping PPC ads because it's not just, it's very hard to track the consumer journey because they might be in it, they might just see it, they might not click it, but now it's on their head. That has no value on paper, but has so much value in the human brain. Same with an Instagram boosting, same with this, same with that. It's funny, yesterday I was doing a surgery on a patient from Cincinnati, Ohio. And that's like, this is like, operating on somebody from Lebanon and you're living in Dubai, something like that, kind of like it's, they have to travel or, it's a long drive. And I was asking, I was like, how did you hear about us? It's like, you know what, like Instagram. And I was like, great. And then as you're talking to them, it's not just Instagram. It's like, yeah. And then I Googled you. Oh, great. And then yeah. And then I went to this website. It's like, okay. And then I went to your website. And then I was following up. And then I went to this Facebook group that they were talking about you. And I was like, it's just the world is so interconnected. You cannot just take one element and make a final decision out of that. So really you gotta see the 360-degree approach. And unfortunately, business owners, especially, it's going to be hard for the next few years because the economy is changing and the quality is changing, and that's going to be much harder for a lot of people because a lot of businesses are going to get squeezed in the next 2 years, and hopefully shorter. But so people, unfortunately, will start to making bad decisions for that practice, and I can see that already on Instagram. I used to boost something, and the reach was significantly less than what the reach is today or yesterday. I was looking yesterday, I was like, that's impressive. How come? And it's like similar material, right? It's doing so much better. And I think part of the reason is uh, people are not boosting as much, probably because they're not making much money. And if they're not making much money, the first thing they knock off is marketing, which is a big mistake.
which is the thing that they should cut the last.
Yes.
Um, Good points. Very valid. I'm sure all the doctors and all the clinic owners are gonna be happy listening to that podcast, man.
I'll tell you
Um,
this, a lot of my time, I mean, other than taking care of patients, and um, I do have a lot of physicians and guide them in private practice, kind of what they're doing, what's the stuff. I go over their books, and as you know, I've been very good in math since a young age and in numbers, and so I kind of like look at their balance sheets, cash flow statements, P&L, and all that stuff, and take a look and see kind of like their deficits and the percentages and what they're putting here and that, and the people who are really not doing well are the people who have limited experience with accounting and limited experience with understanding the how business actually functions. They kind of like I feel they don't know well how funnels work, how kind of like you gotta have the lead to conversion to consult to surgery to this, analyzing the numbers, how to collaborate, how to create a brand, who to network with, what's the PR, what's the return on investment. And to them it's like, I just have a website, I just have an agency that's doing this, but they have no value. And part of it is actually on the agency side, where really educating educating the audience, educating. Let's say if I had an agency, and that's kind of like, let's say if I was in your shoes, and I'm sure you're doing that and 20 times more. I would sit with the owner, with the surgeon, with the business owner, and I'd really explain to them 120% how the system works, what the value is, what's the customer acquisition cost, how do you take them there, what's the ratio, how to connect them, the importance of PR, the importance of branding, who's your ideal customer, who do you want to go after. And really, once, and you hope they understand, most they don't, unfortunately, but you hope some of them would understand. And that's where it would be a great relationship, because the more I talk to people, the more I realize it's not lack in expertise, it's lack in knowledge, which creates problem in relationship, and then and unfortunately things don't work out.
How do you use PR for the benefit of your business?
So I don't have a PR agency that I connect with, that I work with. However, I do, because I do what I do, a lot of people reach out to me so that there's that connection. So a lot of our articles, a lot of other publication, a lot of stuff is actually a mixed venture between us and the company that's publishing. That being said, there's been few like articles where you would pay to be on a certain magazine, or you put like certain things, or we've done some of that as well, and that works very well. Again, it goes back to, it's not just one channel, it's not just one element. Really, you gotta be omnipresent to be able to attract. Especially the key with that is what you go the magazine that you want to be present in is the magazine that where your audience, where your potential patients and customers are gonna be in. And that's gonna probably, this is the most important part, because if I publish in yellow pages, no one's gonna come to me. That's not my population. But if I publish in a VIP high end magazine, that's where my patients are, and that's gonna. But to answer your question, I don't have a dedicated one, but I think if you do, and if you find the right PR agency, I think this is crucial. I think that will add so much value to what you're doing.
Yes, I agree. I don't do PR myself as a marketing agency, but I work with PR agencies, partners of ours, and I 100% recommend it because it builds trust, right? So if people, again, go and searches for your name on Google and they see only your website and your Instagram page and your Facebook page and your LinkedIn page, or they see the top magazines, you're listed on the top magazine to build a certain trust and ultimately conversions, more revenues, etc. So good. What about branding? How important is branding for a clinic? Yani, do you follow? Let me tell you what I mean exactly. So let's say on your social media, do you follow certain grids? Do you put you make sure that the logo is in a certain position? You make sure that you're using your font colors. You make sure that you're using the same maybe music, so people remember you wherever they see you. You don't do that as a brand.
No, I think branding is the king of marketing, in my opinion. And because again, like I cannot be educating plastic surgeons and pioneering the field of awake plastic surgery, and at the same time, you know, doing silly stuff and doing stuff that totally doesn't go with who I am as a person and what our brand is for. So I think having the consistency, extremely like amazing outcome, the way we talk, and we're very kind of attention, like not a grammar mistake, not a single mistake. Even though you found one and you send it to me, and thank you so much. I was like, you spelled the name twice. Yes, and I was like, because I'm so anal about it, because this is the last thing. Because what patients are gonna think is like, if they make mistakes
Yeah.
on social, I mean, guess what they're gonna do in surgery? So I mean, it's all connected. So branding is
Love it.
crucial because like it goes hand in hand. If I'm posting whatever, if I'm posting a picture that's like blood everywhere, the staff's hair is out, and it just doesn't match with who we're doing. Even though you do an amazing, think about that. If you do the best surgery possible with the best outcome, you have two surgeons. They do amazing work. They have the same patient, exactly the same outcome. Okay. One picture has like blood in it. You've got chews in the background. It's a mess. The same quality work on the patient. And the other picture, nice, clean. Everybody is like well dressed. The area is nice. A picture of a patient happy. Which surgeon you want to go with?
The one with the blood.
I mean, they did the
Yeah.
same work, took them the same energy, they spent the same on advertising. I mean, everything is the same.
Mm,
it's just kind of, and that's where the brand comes into play. It's like,
mm,
it's like what you wear, it's like the way you look, like, how you're presenting yourself. Are you in a meeting? Are you talking? How are you talking? How are you connecting? Are you always adding value to the patient, or you're just going after? Yeah, and that's all part of what's a brand? A brand is reputation. I mean, that's what really is. When you see it, that reputation has to get, go along with the people in that business, with the outcome of that business, with kind of like always, oh, they're great, they take care of me, they're awesome, they're happy, they're positive, they're that. And I have a word here, like, with all the human beings, not every day you wake up to work, it's like, hey, it's gonna be an amazing day. Sometimes you wake up and like, you know what? Like, it's not your day. So when we come here at work, and I tell my staff, I'm like, and I learned this word from Tillman Fertitta, great guy. He has a great book, and it's called Plappy. Means play happy. Even if you're miserable inside, you gotta be plappy. Like, play happy, just for the patient experience. Because think about it, most of our patients have been on the books for like probably 6 months for their day to get the surgery done. 6 months, right? Today is the day. Imagine if I walk in, it's like, hey, you know what? I'm feeling so tired today and just like not feeling it. She's gonna be like, what? Like, don't even touch me,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Versus like, hey, we got you. Are you excited? It's gonna be great. You're gonna look great. You're awesome.
yeah,
I'm so excited for you. And just by me saying that, it
yeah,
gets me excited. And it's like a vicious cycle. So I'm probably plappy for like 5 minutes, and then it kicks
yeah.
in, and then I feed back on the patient's energy, and same on the staff, and same on everyone. And really, you get everybody back into it. And that's what a brand is. And if we're consistently delivering that, then the reputation is, hey, you're going to go to that practice, you're going to have an awake surgery, you're not going to have pain, you're going to do great, you're going to be comfortable, they're going to take care of you, they're going to give you all the love, and you're going to come back for more and more and more. And that's who we are, and that's what we do.
Love it. In a nutshell, that's how
Yeah,
important branding is for a clinic.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
No, man, I think like so valuable. Like it makes so much sense, and not only for clinics, man. Like wow, like really, like that's it. You nailed it. Like perfect explanation. Perfect. It's gonna be a perfect video. I'm telling you,
Perfect.
man. Perfect with a B for branding,
That's right.
or for what is it? Plappy? Yeah, play happy.
Plappy, play happy. Yep.
Mm. I think that's the title of the video. I'm gonna use Plappy in it somewhere.
Yeah, tag Tillman. He's awesome. He's out of Texas, and he's got a great book. It's called
Mm.
"Shut Up and Listen." And
Mm.
he owns the Maverick. He's a multi-billionaire, and he's like in the real estate industry and all that, and the restaurant industry. And it's just amazing. Like, I learned a lot from that book. So and that's what I learned. One thing I try to do is, anytime I use something from somebody that I learn, I make it a point to give back at them, to
Mm.
give them a shout out, and that. And that's been, I can't tell you how many times, like, like, it's funny. Yesterday I was doing surgery. I learned something from a buddy of mine who's an awesome plastic surgeon. And I was talking to him on the phone one time. And it's like, you know what, this is what I do. And I was like, that's interesting. So I tried it and I like it. So yesterday I was doing the surgery and I did exactly kind of like what Tim and I were talking about. So I sent him a shout out on Instagram, right? I was like,
Mm.
hey, shout out to Dr. So and so. He's awesome. I learned that from him. And that night he reached out to me. And it's been a
Yeah.
while we haven't connected. And he's like, hey man, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You have unparalleled experiences. I'm so humbled to get that. I mean, and I was
Yeah.
like, and if I didn't give, I would have never.
Mm.
And that phone call, I mean, that meant so much to me, because it's just,
Yeah.
it's nice to connect, and
Yeah.
that's why kind of like that's been, and that's part of branding as well. Being grateful, being thankful, just like appreciating other people, because there's no such thing of self-made, and there's no such thing of just creating it on your own. It's really, we stand on the shoulders of giants. That's how we are. We learn like 99% of the stuff that we're doing. I just learned from other people, and I try to make it better and kind of like improve it and that. So really giving back and acknowledging the people who really put the time and energy, is a big part of branding because that says exactly who you are as a person.
100%. 100% in Arabic for your people that don't know.
Yeah.
100% has a punch in it, eh?
Yep.
At least to us.
Yep. 100%.
Good. 100%. 100%. Do you think clinics should work with marketing agencies, freelancers, or in-house staff? How and why?
That's a great question. And the way I look at it is it depends on the stage of the practice. So, is that practice at the infancy stage? Are they a toddler? Are they adolescents? Are they adults? Where are they in that practice? Let's say you're starting off, you have no idea what marketing, you don't know what even a lead means. You got no clue. So if you try it on your own, good luck. You're gonna fail. I mean, the odds are, right? It's probability, or you're gonna learn by mistakes and wasting a lot of money on that. So definitely you need help from the beginning. So my advice is like find the right people is crucial, the right agency, and that start to build it because you learn a lot, you get better experience in doing it, and you can figure something out where it's a win-win situation for all parties. Now you go into that toddler phase and kind of like after that, and I see people like they think they got it, but actually they haven't got it. And that's kind of where they kind of like start doing the try to separate and that. So, and they go into that shift. Now, let's say a practice who has multiple locations, multiple surgeons, they have enough revenue to support an in-house marketing agency, an in-house team that are present 24/7 to them. I think that's crucial at that point. But the majority, they don't fit in that category. The majority of business owner and clinic, they are more on the smaller side. So my advice, if you're starting out, you have like, few people, you're trying to figure that out, you don't have the expertise, the knowledge of that, an agency is the way to go. But most importantly, not whether they should work with one or not, the right one for that right clinic. That match is key. Because sometimes you can have an agency here, the clinic here, it's not going to work. They don't understand. I got so many advice from people back then, and I had no clue to even understand how valuable that advice is. It's not because, they was, I was not ready to understand that advice. So really, that match between agency and clinic is crucial. And if you've got a clinic who has like, 300 providers and 1,000 staff members, an agency that has 5 members that's dealing with 60 clinics cannot take on that client as a client. That's gonna fail. It's not gonna work. So it really has to be that connection between where the agency is and where the client is.
Right. I know that you have a lot of people in-house that do your marketing. So your social media is all handled in-house?
Yes. So all our social.
Yeah, go ahead.
So all the stuff that we used to work with multiple agencies, and we've actually worked with amazing agencies over the years, and not so amazing agencies as well. So we kind of have and over the years you kind of learn on that. And by no means like we are probably compared to an agency, maybe we're like 1/10 in terms of expertise and what we do. But for this time of where we are, it's been working very well for us because the end goal for us is to really do high quality work on 6 people and getting to choose those 6 patients that really match who we are as and at that point we have like unlimited supply. So and just part of it is the supply and demand. You're really creating that product that no one has. Pretty much like you don't need as much marketing versus selling a bottle of water. There's so much competition there. There's so much supply. So so to kind of we are in a lucky position that we don't have to be aggressively good in marketing and conversion and that. But that being said, we do have all our marketing is internal. We do have an internal team. We take the footage here. We kind of like we do PPC, SEO, Instagram, social, all that stuff, YouTube, all that stuff is being done internally. But again, that being said, I can't tell you how many times it's like, hey, you gotta do this better, we gotta do this better. And I'm thinking, you know what, like, I love that. It's just kind of like, because you see it from a different perspective, and you've got the knowledge, you've got the experience, you've got the personality, and you've got the skills, and kind of like, and um, that's the value that you add. That obviously, again, it's not, I can do an amazing plastic surgery and give you an amazing outcome, but am I the guy that you want to come to for your marketing and sales and that? No, because I'm not the best in the world for it. So and you are.
For both sales and marketing, I'm only marketing.
What's that?
Am I the best in what? Both sales and marketing, or only marketing? I think you're better than me in sales.
That's a good question. I do believe that marketing and sales go hand in hand, and I feel like if you do an amazing job on marketing, you don't need sales. If marketing is so good and your brand is so good, you don't need sales. And I'll tell you why. Patients call here not to be sold. They call our practice to book the surgery.
Right.
They call the practice to just like, hey, when can I get on the schedule?
Yeah.
Before the consultation, before knowing the price, before knowing anything. This is marketing and sales. That person has been sold to through marketing.
Yeah, 100%. Makes sense. And the last question for today is, how important is it for doctors to invest in personal branding, and how to do it?
That's a great question. And that's something I kind of like, even personally over the years, I was like kind of like not sure. Yes, I want it, I don't want it. So if you look at our handle, it used to be Salameh Plastic Surgery. And the past, I would say probably few months to half a year, we shifted it to Dr. Dr. Bernard Salameh. And so that tells you a lot. So I shifted the brand in a way to a personal brand. And it's kind of like behind that persona. Because I felt like more and more people convert and people relate to another human being more than relating to a business as a business. So personal branding for physicians is crucial, especially self-employed and not business owners. And you have two categories of physicians. You can be a business owner where you're not doing the surgery yourself, but you own the business and you have other people doing the business. In that category, personal branding is not as important. It might be important for opening other businesses and attracting other business owners and showing them how to do, but it's not as important to attract patients to perform surgery. But if you're self-employed, if you are the person actually doing the surgery and you're attracting patients for you to perform the surgery, personal branding is crucial, because most of these patients, they fall in love in the persona and that personal brand before they fall in love in the product. If they don't have the connection to that person, they're not going to go after the product.
Right. So, yeah. So the answer is personal branding is very important.
Huge.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people. I tell them because I don't sell it as a service. I don't make money off of it, right? I don't do personal branding, but I know the benefit because I've been investing in personal branding for a number of years. And now people call like you, they say, hey, we've been following Basim for 2 years. Now we're ready to buy.
Yep.
Right. So, and we see it over and over and over and over again. Nobody's doing what I'm doing in here in Dubai. Nobody talks, nobody shares these marketing tips. Nobody.
Yep.
So I stand out. And I tell this to everybody, whether you are a
Yep.
financial controller, whether you are a PR person, whether you are whatever, anything. If you work in a garage, like anything, just invest in personal branding because you stand out and people
Yep.
get to know who you are. Any other questions? Any question I didn't ask you?
No, man, I think that was great.
Mm,
I think we need to have another session. Maybe we catch up this weekend or something, just like over the phone call, just to see kind of like, where you're at, what you're doing, what I'm doing, just kind of like more on a, on a friendship basis. And then we can plan another session. Let's see how I do feel like there's tons of value that you can add to people and vice versa. Um, let's kind of like let's kind of see what this take us. I don't want to be abrupt. I have like a another meeting at like 9:30. That's
2 minutes.
crucial, but I we need to stay connected. I think I love what you're doing, and I just love catching up, man. It's just good to
Yeah,
see you.
same here, man. I'm gonna send you a link to my calendar. Just book any time that works for you.
Yes,
Thanks for taking the time, my man. Good to see you again and speak soon.
likewise. Best of luck.
See you later.
Thank you.